How's it going, Jack Tackers, and welcome back to another video for you guys. Today I am going to be counting down my top 15 favorite movies of 2022. I was going to do a top 10 list, but I ultimately decided to do a top 15 so I can kind of discuss more movies that didn't quite crack the top 10, but I still wanted to talk about them nonetheless. And to be honest, there's still some movies that I actually haven't seen. But I've delayed this video long enough. I guess I could have delayed it a little longer, but screw it. I wanted to do it now. And I still saw quite a lot of movies this year. And overall, this year was a pretty decent year for movies. It definitely could have been better, but it's probably the best year for film since 2019, which really isn't saying that much because 2020 was awful. 2021 was better, and now 2022 is better than that. So without further ado, let's just jump on into the list. Starting off at number 15, I have Avatar: The Way of Water. Now, I definitely wanted to talk about this, even though I already discussed it a little bit in my James Cameron ranked video, but it was just magical seeing this movie finally. I mean, we had been waiting over a decade to see it, and it was just great to finally check it out and see it, and it was pretty great. I mean, I enjoyed it a lot because, first of all, everyone's already talking about this, but it's a spectacle of a film. The visual effects are stunning, and it's without a doubt the highlight, but there's some great action sequences, I feel like, especially towards the end, and really, really good moments all throughout, and I just really enjoyed it. At number 14, I have, this is not a joke, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. I enjoyed it. I noticed some people kind of have a little bit of a negative feeling toward it because it's a little capitalistic and corporate, but just kind of filled with cameos, but I don't know, it's still fun. I mean, the Batman versus E.T. gag, come on, that's pretty epic. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty fun. I mean, just don't take this movie too seriously. If you don't take this movie seriously, you'll have a fun time with it. And ultimately, that's what I had with it. So yeah. At number 13, I have Ambulance. Now, didn't expect this to be this high, but here it is. I enjoyed it, to be honest. And I thought it was pretty fun. It's basically a 2-hour chase sequence. And there's a lot of, it's Michael Bay, so there's some goofy moments in there, but there's some great action as well, suspenseful moments, and I thought it was pretty riveting throughout. Yeah, I really liked it. At number 12, I have Bullet Train. This was just such a fun movie. I really liked it. Also, the whole thing with Lemon and Tangerine, any scene those characters were in was peak cinema. I love those characters. I mean, they need to get a spin-off or something. Absolutely adored that. And all the Thomas the Train moments where it's like, you're a diesel. Just hilarious, man. And great action, of course. And yeah, overall, I just had a really fun time with it. At number 11, this may surprise some of you, I have Deepwater. Yeah, a lot of people hated this movie, but I kind of liked it. I mean, I don't know. It just missed out in being in the top 10, but I still wanted to talk about it because, I don't know, I thought it was kind of interesting a little bit and kind of creepy and intriguing. I don't want to spoil much about it. I feel like maybe you should just go in and kind of not know anything about it, but I thought it was pretty interesting, to be honest, and I like Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas in it. Easily the highlights of the film for me, and yeah, I don't know. I liked it, whatever. At number 10, another movie some people wouldn't really put on their list, but I have Don't Worry, Darling. This one blew me away, to be honest, because I had no intention of ever seeing the movie, and I saw it in theater, and so that kind of enhanced the experience a little bit. And I was pretty invested through the whole thing. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. Florence Pugh, I already talked about this in my best performances of the year video, but Florence Pugh gives great performance. Really liked the soundtrack. Not only the score, but the songs they chose, the 50s aesthetic. I just love the 50s aesthetic overall. It is kind of derivative of something like The Matrix or even WandaVision. It's not super original, maybe, but I don't really care. It was still very, very interesting. At number 9, yet again, another movie people are going to be surprised by. I have Dog. Yes, the Channing Tatum movie. I liked it. I thought it was kind of sweet, and you know, I'll admit, I cried. Okay. So yeah, it made me feel something. It made me feel alive. And yeah, it was just a wholesome, fun little movie. Whatever. It's in the list. It is what it is. At number 8, I have 13 Lives. This is Ron Howard's newest film, and holy moly, I don't want to sound dramatic or anything, but this is genuinely one of the most intense films I think I've ever seen. Now, the main criticism this film gets is that if you've seen, I forget the name of the documentary, but there was a documentary about the real life incident that this movie's based off of. Obviously, these kids get trapped in a cave and it starts flooding. And I had heard about that event when it was going on back, I want to say in 2018, around there. And apparently they made a documentary about it, and it kind of spoiled this movie. But I had never seen the documentary. So this was kind of my first time seeing what happened to these kids, and I genuinely had no idea how they got out of this cave, and I'm not going to spoil it just in case you guys don't know, but I would definitely recommend checking this out. I mean, it's definitely a claustrophobic movie, but it's super intense and very investing. Like, I was glued to the screen, to be honest, because I just needed to see what happened, so yeah, I really enjoyed that. At number 7, I have yet another movie not many people would put on their lists, I Want You Back. It was funny. I gotta be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, that's really all this movie boils down to. I thought it was funny. I enjoyed it. It was a nice time watching it. And I also watched this during a time where I was kind of like not really, I was going through a cinema slump. Like, I wasn't finding a lot of great movies out there. And I watched this and I was like, you know what? I was pleasantly surprised. So yeah, I don't know. Check it out if you want, maybe. I don't know. At number 6, though, I have Clerks 3. I love the Clerks films, especially the second one. I know that's a bit of a hot take, but I think Clerks 2 might actually be the best Clerks film. However, this movie's really good as well, and a very satisfying end, maybe an end, I think it is an end, to the trilogy. Yeah, it's funny, riddled with pop culture references, which is always fun. Of course, these movies are known for their pop culture references. A lot of Mandalorian moments. It is funny and also very emotional. Yeah, it really kind of shocked me, especially towards the end, how emotional this movie actually did get. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, just in case you haven't seen it, but probably the most underrated film of 2022, especially if you're a fan of Kevin Smith and the Clerks films. Definitely check it out. At number 5, I have The House. Now, this film came out all the way back in January of 2022 and still somehow managed to be the best animated film of the year, or at least in my opinion. Granted, I don't think, so basically this movie's divided into 3 stories. It's kind of like an anthology movie, I guess you could say. The third story isn't that great, so in a way, I guess the third act isn't that great. But the first 2 stories are very engaging, and also just the animation's incredible. And yeah, I was captivated by this movie, to be honest. I definitely would recommend. I feel like not many people have talked about this film. When anyone says what their favorite animated movie of the year was, they probably say, I don't know, Turning Red or something. No, this is definitely the best animated film of the year, in my opinion. And just very unsettling at moments, but yeah, very intriguing overall. At number 4, I have Wildcat. Now, this is a documentary that came out just at the very end of the year on Amazon Prime. But this blew me away, and I'd actually been waiting to see this for quite some time, just when I heard what the subject matter was going to be about. And again, I think you should just go into this not knowing that much about what's it about, but it really was some heavy stuff. It's very sad at moments. I teared up a little bit, but also has an optimistic ending, and deals with mental illness and stuff. So I thought that was very important that it kind of tackled certain issues like that. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Well, I guess enjoyed's you know what I mean, because it is a very heavy movie. I mean, once you start watching it, you'll realize that it is, again, I keep saying it, but super heavy. Anyway, now we are entering the top 3, and at number 3, I have The Fabelmans, Steven Spielberg's newest film, and yeah, this was great. I had been waiting to see this for quite some time, and I was pretty satisfied by the result. When I found out Steven Spielberg was going to be making a movie based on his childhood, I was just super excited, and this movie definitely delivered. It's great. It's a love letter to cinema in a lot of ways, which I just love that. and I thought all the performances in it were great. Steven Spielberg's parents, Paul Dano as his dad was great, and even the young kid who was actually playing Steven Spielberg, or Sammy, I guess, really, and it's also funny at moments, and just it really, again, was a love letter to cinema, so I appreciate that, and yeah, it was very good. At number 2, I have Nope, Jordan Peele's newest film, and a lot of people are talking about if this is his best movie or if it's his worst movie. For me, I think it's better than Us, but not as good as Get Out. But that doesn't really matter. I still really enjoyed the movie. It's definitely more of a, I guess, thriller, science fiction-y type of movie. Not so much a horror film, even though there are definitely horrific elements in it. Very interesting movie, though, for sure. Great performances. Obviously, Keke Palmer, I talked about, was the standout for me. But also Daniel Kaluuya and Steven Yeun. Just fantastic overall. Cinematography is fantastic. It's just a beautifully shot film. A lot to love about this movie. And even to this day, I don't even really know what it's about. Okay, moving on. At number 1, I have Elvis. I know, but listen, I really like this because, again, this is another movie I had been waiting basically years to see because it was supposed to come out in 2021. And when I found out Baz Luhrmann was doing an Elvis biopic, I'm just a huge fan of Elvis, so I think that's honestly the reason this movie's so high up. But genuinely, I mean, apart from Austin Butler's performance, he's not the only great thing about this. Baz Luhrmann directs the hell out of this movie, and, you know, the editing is fantastic as well. I don't know if he edited the film or not, I forget the editor, but this movie just kind of reminded me, when I was in the cinema watching this, I was like, yeah, that's a movie, you know? But yeah, I was really pleasantly surprised by this movie as well, and it definitely delivered because, again, I'd been waiting so long to see it. And yeah, great editing. Baz Luhrmann, fantastic director. Austin Butler, fantastic performance, and really emotional moments, especially towards the end of the film. It really gets you in the feels a little bit. And yeah, largely the reason this movie is this high and at number 1 is I'm just a huge Elvis fan, so hey, is what it is. But those are my top 15 favorite movies of the year. There's some oddballs in here for sure, but then there's some movies that I feel like some people genuinely love as well. But yeah, of course, let me hear your favorite movies of the year down in the comments below. And if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.